Hey, I'm back. Pull this paperwork up here for a minute. Okay, Infra Gard. I'm gonna tell you something. It comes from the Center of Grassroots Oversight. That's where I got this from. Okie dokie. Okay. 1996-2008, FBI uses Infra Gard to train private citizens, corporate government, to cooperate with government, potentially enforce martial law. Yep. Now, let me read this. 23,000 executives, employees of various private firms work with the FBI, Department of Homeland Security. A group called Infra Gard receives secret warnings of terrorist threats and things of this nature, and they receive advanced public notification. They receive these things well in advance of public notification, sometimes for elected officials. In return, Infra Gard provides information to the government. Infra Gard is a quiet, quasi-governmental entity which wields an unknown but extensive amount of power and influence. Michael Hirschman, Chairman and Advisory Board of Infra Gard National Members Alliance, CEO of international consulting firms, calls Infra Gard a child of the FBI. Organization started in Cleveland in 1996 when business members cooperated with the FBI to investigate cyber threats. Well, wait a minute. Now, okay. Started out investigating cyber threats. Then it moved on terrorist threats. Okay? But the real deal, you can bet your butt on it. I guarantee you can count your chickens before they hatch, buddy, on this one. The real deal is there are snitches and spies to tell on you that are working for them. You see, they want to tell on you. Well, he like he was upset the other day when we were talking about how glad at work we were that Obama got elected. He got up and slid the chair back and walked out of the room. I don't know if he's stable anymore or not. See, such crap as that is what's going on behind the scenes that you don't know about, and they're making a little dossier on you. See. Well, let me move on and read some more of it. He says right here, we are the owners and operators, experts of our critical infrastructure. CEO of a large company in agriculture to high finance to the guy who turns the valve of the water utility, says Schneck. According to the Infra Gard website, most basic level, Infra Gard is a partnership between FBI and the private sector. You better hear me now. Listen to this now. Listen. The organization accepts members from agriculture, banking and finance, chemical industry, defense, energy, food, information, telecommunications, law enforcement, public health, transportation, utilities. See, Infra Gard's inner workings are not available to the general public. It's controlled exposure, you see. And but anyway, it's communication to FBI, Department of Homeland Security are not accessible through Freedom of Information Act. What they talk about and what they talk to each other about are not available through the Freedom of Information Act. You see. Now, they're under the trade secrets exemption. You see. And Infra Gard carefully controls its exposure and contact with the media. According to the Infra Gard website, the interests of Infra Gard must be protected whenever presented to non-Infra Gard members during interviews with the members of the press, controlling the image of Infra Gard. They want to control their image, see? They don't want to let you know what's going on behind the scenes. You understand what I'm saying? Man, listen, American patriots, people, we're being hit from every daggone which way we can turn, brother. I mean, I mean, they're looking at us, and of course, a lot of you know this, the cameras at the red lights. I mean, and that's just a basic thing. And the list goes on and on. And they're probably watching, they probably check in on this video. You mentioned guns and then government and all that. They probably swing it to the side. Some little geek looks at it and, you know, well, here's what I say to the little geek. Go to hell. You better stay out of my face. Now, listen, proper preparation for the interview will minimize the risk of embarrassment. The Infra Gard leadership, the local FBI representatives should review, submit questions, agree on all the things and answers in the identity of appropriate interview. Tailor answer to the expended audience. Question concerning sensitive information should be avoided. In other words, they'll do just like them stupid senators, them congressmen, and Henry Paulson and Bernanke and all of them. Any question that has an intellectual background, that has some density to it, that we might find out the truth about, they don't answer it. Or they'll say, I'll have to get back to you on that. And if they're in oversight in the committee of Senate or Congress, I'll have to get that to you in writing. I don't exactly want to say it out of context, so I'll get it to you privately. Yeah, whatever. I know. But listen, let me read this on. There's no business class. The FBI should not be creating a privileged class of Americans who get special treatment. There's no business class in law enforcement. If there's information the FBI can share with 22,000 corporate bigwigs, why don't they just share it with the public? Because when martial law comes, they'll be taken care of. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but listen, I want you to listen to me for a minute. These corporate bigwigs tote their guns all the time, in the public and in the private. They tote their guns. They have armed guards. What are they worried about? I'll tell you what they're worried about. They're worried about the American people getting sick to death and having enough of it, see? So they're able to tote their weapons. See, they joined up with the FBI, sold their soul out to give out our information and everything that they can find out about us, so the FBI can make that big database, and in exchange they give them the freedom to tote guns. Well, by God, man, I mean, you wake up and smell the coffee. The Constitution's Second Amendment says that I have the right to tote my gun. Glory to God. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Do you understand me? So, y'all join that Infra Gard all you want to, you bunch of turncoat sellouts. But we already got our stuff, and we're not worried about you, nor the FBI. We're not worried about the 20,000 extra troops the Washington Post wrote about yesterday. I'm not worried about the 3,000 or 4,000 that are at Fort Stewart training for the civil unrest. Look, man, we're not worried about you. You understand? You understand? You can't kill the American spirit. You can't kill a patriot. You can take his body, but you can't take his soul. You understand me? It's gonna live on. Once you start messing with people and trying to take people, hey, and by the way, once they start, people like Lindsey Williams, Alex Jones, and the list goes on, but I'm just using them two for an example. If they get arrested or if they get killed, we're going to know the jig's up. And then we're going to know it's time to move on. And, like I said, let them start it first. We're not going to start it. But this is corruption here, my friend. This is corruption. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, they're preparing for emergencies such as martial law is what they're preparing for. Infra Gard members are very much looting in the readiness capability, says DHS spokeswoman. Not only does DS provide speakers, joint presentation with FBI, but train alongside them. Train alongside them now. Watch this. They participated in readiness exercise. Infra Gard members are involved with the Bush administration's National Continuity Policy. National Continuity of Government Policy. Did you understand? They are training alongside the FEMA boys. I'm telling you, it's the truth, man. I know you think this come off Mars, but it didn't. This is the truth. But listen, let me move on. I'm about to run out of time on this one. And the meeting starting off inclusive enough with the speakers talking about corporate espionage. From there, it just progressed. All of a sudden, they were knee-deep in what was expected of us when martial law was declared. That's exactly right. It's right here writing. We were expected to share all our resources, but in return, we'd be given specific benefits. I'm going to cut this short, and I'm going to get back and do it again. Infra Gard, Part 2 coming up.